Friends, welcome to Book Review. I'm starting after a long time, and now let me take you through this very interesting book written by famous author Ashwin Sanghi some time ago. The name of the book is, I think you must have heard about it, The Rozabal Line. It is an engrossing novel of some 350 pages. It is a thriller fiction by Ashwin Sanghi, written under the pseudonym Shawn Hagins. The book was originally published in 2007, a revised edition of which was also published by Westland Ltd and Tranquebar Press in 2008 under the author's own name. I am purposefully bringing this book to you very late because it is a very well researched fiction novel that can live through times. Most certainly, it has a long shelf life, for it will keep resurrecting itself at appropriate intervals. But before I take you through my comments as a reader, let me first take you through the plot of this masterpiece. Let me first begin by asking, did Jesus survive his execution? Well, the novel does deal with the story of Jesus having survived the crucifixion and later his settling down in India. The fictional spark of the novel, I suppose, comes in the same rhythm as Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code. I brooded over the book for some time before deciding to read it again. The title of the book draws its name from the Rozabal Shrine in Srinagar, located in Kashmir. Some personalities such as Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, are said to have been the first person who claimed in 1899 that Rozabal was the burial place of Jesus of Nazareth. The historical basis of the novel is derived from several other books on the subject, including Jesus Lived in India by Holger Kirsten and The Unknown Life of Jesus by Nicholas Notovic. Friends, the cardboard box is found on a shelf in a London library. When the bewildered librarian opens it, she screams before she falls unconscious on the floor. Within the winding recesses of the Vatican, a beautiful assassin of Asian origin by the name of Swakilki says she will eliminate all who do not believe in her twisted credo. A deadly elite army of 13 calling itself Lashkar-e-Talatashar is scattered around the globe. The fate of its members curiously resembles that of Christ and his apostles. Their agenda is clearly Armageddon. The forces of Islam and the forces of Christianity are positioning themselves for the greatest conflict ever. At the end of this conflict, they both will destroy themselves and then will rise the New World Order. The power of Illuminati. The power of Illuminati. A Hindu astrologer, Pandit Ram Gopal Sharma, spots the approaching configuration of the stars and nods to himself at the grim realization of the end of the world. In Tibet, a group of Buddhist monks search for reincarnation, much in the way their ancestors searched Judea for the Son of God. In the strife-torn Kashmir, a tomb called Rozabal holds the key to a riddle that arises in Jerusalem and gets answered at Vaishno Devi. The plot insinuates Hinduism could be the mother of all religions, being one of the oldest. It dwells on the holy triad, the configuration of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh and Kali, Lakshmi and Saraswati. An American priest, Father Vincent Sinclair, has disturbing visions of people familiar to him, except that they seem to exist in other ages. Induced into past life regressions, he moves to India to piece together the violent images. Shadowing his every move is an organization called Crux de Cassata Permuta, a clandestine secret society that would rather wipe out entire creation than allow an ancient secret from being disclosed. The Rozabal Line is a thriller spanning between continents and countries, with Ashwin Sanghi under the pseudonym Shawn Hagins telling the story that goes back to the time of the birth of the Abrahamic religions. Let us see what the periodicals had to say about this novel. According to Tehelka, one of India's news magazines, The Rozabal Line is a thriller that inquires into the controversial claim that Jesus Christ traveled to India and is buried in Kashmir's Rozabal tomb. The Hindu, one of India's national dailies, says that the book deals in greater depth with the issue of Christ's union with Mary Magdalene, touched upon by the Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown as well as incorporating postulates of several other books, including Jesus Lived in India, Life Before and After the Crucifixion by Holger Kirsten, and Jesus Died in Kashmir, Jesus, Moses, and the 10 Lost Tribes of Israel by Andreas Kaiser. After the novel was published, due to attention drawn to the site by others, as well as the story told in the book, there was large upsurge of visitors to the Rozabal Shrine in Srinagar. I have just returned from Srinagar some months back only, and I could see that. At a talk delivered in Chennai, the author said, "We assume that the different faiths are distinctly different, but once you start tracing back the roots of their beliefs, you find their origins are much closer than you might imagine." Irrespective of the controversial themes surrounding his book, the author has continuously maintained that his book is a work of fiction. It's a book of fiction and should be read as fiction only, a fiction conspiracy thriller. In an interview with the leading tabloid, the author was asked, "Do you believe that Jesus lived in India?" And he replied, "I don't think it's in any way relevant if he came here or not. But do I wish it was true? Yes, completely. Isn't that such a romantic notion?" M.V. Kamath, a leading commentator, has said that the book is provocative but certainly commanding attention. The ongoing controversial nature of the story surrounding the tomb, as promoted by various people, such as those of the Ahmadiyya movement, and as also explored in this book, resulted in the site being closed down to visitors. Particularly after Lonely Planet, a travel guide book, detailed the tomb. Similarities to November 2008 Mumbai attacks. The Hindustan Times was the first to point that Sanghi's novel bore several similarities to the November 2008 Mumbai attacks. In particular, Sanghi's novel spoke of an attack by the Lashkar-e-Taiba, an Islamist terror group based in Pakistan-controlled Kashmir. It also spoke of the Lashkar-e spinning off an ultra-elite group of 12 commandos similar to the Deccan Mujahideen. The plot of the Rozabal Line used a ship off the coast of Gujarat as well as the Thuraya satellite phone, besides describing the Taj Mahal Palace and Tower as the residence of one of the main characters in the story. Sanghi also described the group as being controlled by inter-services. Intelligence of Pakistan without the knowledge of Pakistani president. All these elements are purportedly present in the November 2008 Mumbai terror attacks. Consequently, the Hindu included the Rozabal Line among its top fiction picks, while the Telegraph included the Rozabal Line among its top paperback pickings. The author has clarified in a subsequent interview that he was unhappy about the commonalities, although he readily agrees to it being called a conspiracy theorist. Friends, what is more fun, reading the book after knowing the story or reading it first to know the story? You decide. My observations on the narration are as follows. The plot of this novel is derived from an extremely ancient event or happening that affected the entire world. The author therefore takes you around the world. His imagination is no less than Dan Brown. There are but a few pages with limited sex to break the monotony of the theological thriller, and the sex is leisurely described in a very dignified manner considering the genre of the book. The author takes a rather long time taking you round and round the world before he lays down the plot. The book is initially slow, very slow. It takes its own sweet time to build up, but that's because of its complicated plot that takes a long time to brew. The plot is not established till almost page 81. The book quite munificently deals with previous births and regressions. The theological rigmarole of certain Indian states and cities such as Goa, J&K, Mumbai, and some more have been covered in great detail. Many things are happening in this narration simultaneously, so it's a bit difficult for the reader to keep pace with. It's a difficult plot and requires some concentrated reading and is in no way a light book. There are too many characters, so it's difficult to remember the names. It's not some linear narration. Instead, it goes around the world in small paragraphs and subchapters. The book, in fact, is an assimilation of small subtitles finely bound into a story and thick spine. It appears the author has made some deep commendable study before embarking on the mission to write it. It's a taxing novel, friends, dealing with religion and therefore provocative, but one must take it as a fiction. It's got some hypnotizing scenes as well that only helps in building the overall plot. The narration is through small chapters. It's a complicated novel. Ghalib is one of the main characters. The book certainly takes you on a world tour. Did Jesus take Samadhi? Was Jesus revived? The book runs all over. It's an old history intertwined with fiction. The book destroys the fundamental belief that Jesus died on the cross. The research has been fictionalized quite subtly. The uniqueness of the book is that you are never in the full grip of the story as it keeps changing. One wonders at times, where did Ashwin get the details from? Though the book is titled The Rozabal Line, yet the word Rozabal is used for the first time on page 210, more than halfway down, and that explains why the suspense of the plot is so deadly. The book doesn't give you a feel as if you are reading a novel. On the contrary, it makes you feel as if you are reading some live pieces or columns. It's a very confusing novel with a plethora of names. You will keep changing your opinion about the narration as you go along the book. The book has an engrossing plot. Small pieces of writing knit the elaborate narration. There are many sessions on resurrections. The main plot of the book is constructed on so many fragments that one gets lost in its detailing. The book connects you with all major religions of the world. The plot has a long build-up from where to where. Even the Nagas of India are there. Read it with full concentration to enjoy the book, otherwise you're wasting time. The author summarizes the novel towards the end for the convenience of the readers. I would give the novel 8 out of 10. So friends, it's a very interesting novel if you are keen on reading theological thrillers, and I would give it 8 out of 10, which is a very high rating. So that's all I have for you, friends. Goodbye and see you soon. Thank you.